Yo, what's up, everybody? Excuse me. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Todd. I'm here with Trenell. We're here for episode 82 of a weekly gaming news show. Today is January 7th, 2018. Yo, what's up, everybody?
Uh-oh.
Excuse me.
Instant replay, boys.
and we got some news, though. We picked up a few stories. We got something to talk about tonight.
Yes, indeed. Coming to you guys extra late tonight. It's barely the 7th. It's almost the 8th. Coming to you guys a little later than expected. But we're here with the news. So let's go ahead and jump into it. First things first, the weekly icebreaker. If you're new to the podcast, you don't know what the weekly icebreaker is. It's just a question that we like to ask between the two of us to get a sense of where we are on certain gaming topics. And this week's topic is, what is the next fad in gaming? What is the next fad in gaming gonna go? Like, where is gaming gonna go as far as fads?
To go, one that's gonna go away.
Gaming to go. Go. Okay, I thought you meant like, where's fads gonna go? No, okay, which one is the next one? That's easy for me, so I'll let you go first.
Yeah,
I'll be surprised if you have a different one.
I picked this one up because of some of the news we got coming up in one of our stories. But the next, VR is a big one. Loot boxes is and microtransactions is another huge one. AR is a big one. I think the one that's going to die the horrible death is VR. I mean, it's nothing compelling for it. It's just no reason to have a VR. I mean, I always talked about getting a PSVR when it dropped to $200, and it was $200. And I had it in my cart a couple of times. I even picked one up at a Best Buy. I had it in my arm, and then I put it back. I'm like, what am I going to do with it? It's no reason to have it. Because I had it, and I started looking at what games am I going to play on it. Resident Evil, I know it's great, but I'm not interested in being scared.
Right.
And other than that, outside of that, there was nothing really compelling outside of the other game. I think is Super High that everybody is all over. But
yeah, that's actually a really good game, honestly.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, I just couldn't bring myself to buy it. And I tried the PlayStation VR a couple of times now, and it's just not compelling.
No, I mean, the most compelling games that they have for the PSVR, in my opinion, is Super Hot, like you said, and then also Resident Evil 7, both of which are, solid games, on their own.
Yeah, without the VR, without the gimmick.
Right. So VR is definitely something, and I agree with you the same. I really feel like AR and microtransactions or loot boxes, or the way that we see them right now, those are other fads that are going to go. But I think that VR is going to go the way of motion controls. Because the technology, it seems like it's growing at an exponential rate. They're trying more and more ways of like getting VR into people's hands. They're trying. The technology seems to be there, but they don't have that killer app, and that is what's gonna kill it.
Right, and the part of the problem is the developers, they don't seem to be understand what they can do with it, because everybody's basically shoehorning first person.
Yeah, it's first person shooter experience. Yeah,
experiences on there, be it a shooter or a slasher or what, just a puzzler or whatever. It's just first person. It couldn't be so much more. I know people are leaning, well, AR is going to be the end all, the be all, but I don't see AR being that much better in gaming. I don't need characters walking around my desk while I'm trying to play a game. It's not interesting to me. So I think VR is on the road to nowhere.
Yeah, I feel like this is probably going to be one of, if not the last push for VR, because VR is old. They were trying to do VR way back when. Yeah,
they did it in the 80s. They did it in the 90s.
Yeah, and they're trying it again now. This has probably been one of the more successful pushes. Right. But honestly, I really do not think that it's going to go anywhere. Maybe if publishers weren't so afraid to innovate, we might get something. But with the at the current state of gaming, I don't think that anybody's going to be willing to take a super hard risk. Nobody's going to be willing to take the risk, because if it falls flat, they lose money. And supposedly they're losing so much money as it is. This is why the industry is in the freaking state that it's in right now.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a multitude of different reasons, but ultimately, I agree that VR is going to be the next gaming fad to go the way of HD, or no, was that 3D TV? Did nobody fuck with that?
Yeah. And you know what's funny on that? CS is coming up this week, so it'll be interesting to see what they have. But last year there were a couple of manufacturers, I forgot who they were, but they said that TVs were 3D capable, but they didn't even enable it because nobody used it. I mean, it's that way, yeah. And VR is on its way out. I can't imagine, unless something major shows up within the next year. I guess 6 months to a year. I think the PlayStation VR is gonna get that permanent $199 price drop, and eventually the bargain bin price.
Oh yeah, you'll see it in a big old bin full of like useless tech at Walmart. Yeah. But yeah, that was the weekly icebreaker. Hit us up with any questions that you would like to ask us, whether it's for the Q&A section of the stream or for the weekly icebreaker. Just use the hashtag AskAWGNS. We definitely we track those hashtags over on Twitter. So if you tweet that if you tweet a question to us, we'll definitely get it, and we'll definitely answer it live on the podcast. But with that, we can move on to the next segment, which is the quick hits. And the quick hits are little short rapid fire stories that don't necessarily deserve a deep dive like most of the other ones that we will be talking about today. But there are stories that we want to address. And now, Boogie, why don't you start us off? We're talking about your favorite company, man.
Yeah, my favorite company.
Your favorite company. Yeah, no, definitely. Your favorite company.
So Nintendo made a couple of announcements, but one of the things, and this is actually now the past 2 weeks, the first announcement they made, it was the week after Christmas, or Christmas week. It became the fastest selling console in Japan. They sold 3.3 million units in 10 months. It invested Sony PlayStation 2 and Nintendo Wii records. And then this week, this past week, is the fastest ever selling console in the United States, selling 4.8 million units in 10 months. So the previous record was 4 million, which was held by the Wii as well. That was during the height of the Wii craze. And they also just announced just recently. Oh gosh. I forget. I have to look it up. But they just announced another milestone, another sales milestone.
The 10 months?
No. They eclipsed the Wii U lifetime sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo Switches sold more. They've sold more Nintendo Switches in the first 11 months now than Wii U has sold this entire 5 years in existence. So Nintendo Switch is, again, it's selling blockbusters. I don't know. I haven't played Zelda. I played Super Mario Odyssey, and it's I guess it can be fun, but meh. And Mario vs. Rabbids was great. Splatoon.
Dim's fighting words, Todd. Mario Odyssey is game of the year, my boy.
Nah. And then what else? Mario vs. Rabbids is great. Splatoon 2 was good. But I mean, I think what Nintendo did here the first year is they came out with their two biggest name IPs, and that they're riding that wave. It's just they need to keep that momentum. And to be quite honest, yes, it's selling like hotcakes, and there's a lot of gamers picking it up. I still haven't seen it pick up into the mainstream. People still don't know what a Nintendo Switch is.
Right.
What's the Nintendo Switch?
And I'm gonna take what you just said and kind of like go with that a little bit. Not only did they come with their best foot forward as far as their IPs, but they innovated in both of those games. Innovated in their own right. With Legend of Zelda being like this, the wide open, oasis of game that it is, and then the same thing for Mario Odyssey. Like, I feel like if they would have came with the run of the mill Mario game, because like you could probably say that we got a few Mario games during the Wii U life cycle, and people might have started to get like Mario fatigue because it was the same thing over and over again.
They were just throwing them out quick. They were trying to throw something out to prop up the sales,
right?
And something quick. So basically, they just kind of reskin or not reskin, but just rehash something they had pretty much done before.
Right, like the new Super Mario Bros. Series was the exact same style of game that was on the 3DS as well. So if you had both consoles, you had 4 games that were essentially the same thing with just like a different coat of paint on it.
Mm-hmm.
So like with them, not only did they come with their flagship IPs, but they innovated. And if they could keep that momentum, then there's no stopping the Switch. If they could keep that same kind of momentum going forward with like, let's say like Metroid Prime 4, which is which has been announced for 2018. If they could come with a Prime 4 and it is as impactful as these last 2 games are, it's a wrap, dude. It's a wrap.
I don't know, because Metroid Prime 4 is a fanboy. It's fan service. It's a Nintendo fan game. It's not going to get fringe people to come to the Nintendo Switch.
You never know, man. It's a first person shooter.
You
never know.
It's not Call of Duty.
It depends on how they. It depends on if they have a multiplayer mode, like a bounty hunter mode, and it's compelling. You can get a strong multiplayer.
Okay, stop. Multiplayer Nintendo Switch.
I'm just saying.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying. if they can both get their online component working and make a compelling multiplayer mode, I think they would have something strong. But that's the first quick hit. Talking about Nintendo, what's the next one that we have?
We got a battle brewing as the ESA has come out sternly against the World Health Organization's designation of gaming, the gaming addiction, addictive gaming.
Right, we talked about that last week.
Last week, yeah. So the gaming disorder, and the other one we didn't actually talk about was hazardous gaming, where hazardous gaming is like, when you get upset, you start throwing stuff, breaking stuff, harming people physically in real life. That's another designation. We didn't really get into that one.
We Twitch boys called that baby rage.
Baby rage. Yeah, so there's a couple of quotes that I pulled out of what they said. The first thing is that the ESA thinks that including video game related disorder is not good, and instead, and this is a quote, recklessly trivializes real mental health issues. And then another quote they said is putting the official label on them recklessly trivializes real mental health issues like depression, social anxiety disorder, which deserve treatment and the full attention of the medical community. And they finished by saying, we strongly encourage the WHO to reverse the direction of the proposed action. I think it's disingenuous what ESA is saying.
Oh, of course, because if gaming is seen, to have some kind of link with like a mental disorder, that's bad for business, baby. And the ESA, they are funded by publishers like EA, like Activision. That's where they get their money. So of course they're gonna fight against it. These guys are the same. This is the same group of individuals that said that there's nothing predatory about loot boxes.
About loot boxes, exactly. So they're covering their own behinds there. I like you said, it is disingenuous. I think that the WHO designation is fine because it's going to give people that need help. I mean, just like gambling is a disorder.
Right.
There's sexual disorders like I mean it's a disorder. People can't stop themselves from doing something. They need help, and if it's not recognized, they're not going to be able to get the help they need.
Right, because like especially you hear about this more in foreign countries like Korea and like China and stuff like that, where you have actual addictions and people like spending large quantities of their life in like these internet cafes and stuff like that.
Bangs, yep.
Yeah, you hear about that more over there because they have like more restricted internet, like I guess for residential places. So you'll have these people like out and like businesses, like they go to work and then they go to the internet cafe and spend all their money playing games online.
I do remember a couple years ago, I believe this was in South Korea, there was a guy that spent 24 straight hours in one, and he passed away of like a heart attack or something.
And like, yeah. So it definitely is an issue that should be studied. It should be, and you know, if we can provide the help for the people that need it, then it should be there. Like the ESA going out and saying like, oh no, gaming isn't bad. Like nobody gets hurt from games. Like, oh, everything's all happy. And no, dude, like there's real problems out there. And if we have the means to help people, then we should help people. The ESA is very disingenuous, and they're just trying to protect those big fat pockets.
That cash cow.
Exactly. Yeah, try to protect that cash cow, man. That cash flow. They're trying to keep the money coming in, dude.
Yep.
So forget these guys. I was about to curse, but I would not. I would like for this video to not be demonetized on YouTube. So I'm gonna try to suspend my foul Marine Corps language in this episode. That's gonna be my goal for this episode. Let's go ahead and move on to the last story. I may go back on the words that I just spoke just because of this story. This is actually pretty goddamn crazy.
Yeah. So we've got Paladins. If you're unfamiliar with Paladins, we kind of ripped on it for being a shameless ripoff of Overwatch.
Right.
I mean, they have one-to-one character matches in Overwatch. Their skin different, but their abilities and classes are exactly the same. Well, add another bit of copy into their belt as they are now jumping into the Battle Royal arena. They're releasing Paladins Battlegrounds. I mean, they
didn't even find another word for the Battlegrounds.
I was talking to my brother about that, and at least Fortnite changed their name. They called it the Battle Royal.
Right.
But this one is just Paladins Battlegrounds. There is a bit of a wrinkle to it because, you know, PUBG, the most popular one right now, is team-based. You can squad up, right? 2, 3, 4-man squads. And you also, in this one, they're saying you have to squad up. So you're going to be running around 100 versus 100, but you're in squads. Mm-hmm. And they're going to maintain their classes. So it's going to be class-based squads. So you can still have your healer, and you can still have your DPS, and you can still have your silence character and all of that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not too huge on Paladins. I thought it was a horrible, and shameless ripoff. Yeah. And I think it's just, you know, this is what they're going to do because that's what this company does. I forgot they have another game that they have.
I believe we talked
also shameless ripoff.
Yeah, we talked about it in a previous episode, but. Mm-hmm. Man, it's like they're not even trying to, like, it's so blatant how they're ripping it off and just trying to hop on that bandwagon of what's popular right now. I mean, Paladins is already, I would say, like a dying, if not already dead, game.
It's not super popular, but people play it because at the end of the day, it's a free game. It's a free to play game.
It is free to play, so that is one way to
It still has a community. It has a community. I don't know how thriving, and it's definitely not going to compare to PUBG or even Fortnite or Overwatch. It doesn't compare to that, but it does have a community that's dedicated to the game, and the people that play really play it. But at the end of the day, like you said, they're just jumping on the bandwagon. They jumped on the Overwatch bandwagon, and they saw that slowing down, so they decided to jump on the Battle Royal bandwagon, and this is what we get here. Yeah, Paladins.
We'll see how Paladins Battleground. They're not even trying, but I mean we'll see how popular it is. I don't know. I always saw Paladins as a not to disrespect anybody, but it's a poor man's freaking Overwatch, and I feel like this is going to be the same thing. It's going to be a poor man's PUBG or a poor man's Fortnite.
It's like they're essentially crossing Overwatch with Battlegrounds, and I don't know, and the game it's not even fun to play.
It's not even fun. I wanted to try it just for the lulz, but I couldn't bring myself to it.
Yeah, I've tried it. I have my brother plays because we have one of our nephews. He's like 12 now, and 11 or 12, and he apparently he loves the game. He plays it all the time, and he'll get on and make my brother play with him. It cracks me up. I run.
G Marks is you talking about G Marks, right?
Yeah, G Marks. Yeah.
G Marks, you are a trooper, my boy. Keep on, keep it on. Do what you got to do. But those were our quick hits. If you would like to submit a story to us, you could do so by hitting us up on our social media. Any user submitted stories will most likely make it into the quick hits if they are not already added into the top 5 news stories. So go ahead, submit the stories that you would like us to talk about, because that's the point of this podcast. We don't pride ourselves in being like the first to report or anything like that. We get the news, we discuss, we report it, and then we just talk about it. We give our personal opinions on it. So let's go ahead and move on to the meat and potatoes of the podcast, and that is going to be the top 5 news stories for this week. But before we jump into that, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, the New Challenger Discord. Head on over to newchallenger.gg if you would like to get good at your favorite fighting game with your favorite fighting game character or team of characters, because we support Injustice 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Street Fighter V, Tekken 7, and future releases like Dragon Ball FighterZ will be supported as well. You can get one-on-one coaching. You can get group coaching. They have bi-weekly tournaments and also have fight nights. So go to newchallenger.gg if you want to get good. Make sure you hit those guys up on Twitter at newchallengertv, and follow them on Twitch as well, because they do have weekly content that they stream and post on Twitch, like the beginner breakdown, where they take user submitted matches and kind of just go one step at a time as to what you need to do in order to improve. So it's just another one of those tools that you can use to get better at your favorite fighting game. So again, the website is newchallenger.gg. Let them know that True Sonic sent you, and shout out to Mr. Vinegar, who is the founder of the Discord server, and always shout out to Mount Lover, who is a commentator for the Street Fighter V tournaments. He's also a coach and a mod for the Discord server. So big shout out to those guys for sponsoring this podcast. Okay, so top 5 news stories. Let's go ahead and jump into the first one. We're talking about Microsoft first up on the list here. And this is actually a pretty interesting story, something that we mentioned a little while ago, and it was the demise of the Kinect. Mm-hmm. It looks like now they are stopping production on the adapter that allows you to connect the Kinect to a Xbox One S and the Xbox One X, because those console variants shipped without a Kinect port.
Right.
So go ahead.
They pulled the plug on the Kinect back in October. They stopped manufacturing Kinects. You were still able to buy through leftover inventory. There was quite a bit of them that were refurbished. You can buy like for $20 less. But the adapters were still being manufactured on sale for $30. So those are now gone. And in fact, they've been out of stock at places like Amazon, Best Buy, and even the Microsoft store for a couple of months now, since like November. Mm-hmm. And Microsoft has announced that they're not going to produce anymore. And so you look at them like, well, nobody plays the Kinect on the Xbox or Xbox One, and that's true. Barely anybody uses it. But one niche market was people were connecting them to the PCs for development and stuff. Right. And this adapter works with the PC as well. It's actually the PC adapter, and it just plugs into a USB port.
Of
the newer Xbox models.
Right.
But yeah, this is the end of the road right here. This is the final nail in the coffin. It's right here. It tells you there's no more Kinect, at least no more first support by Microsoft for the Kinect. And it's funny because people are capitalist pigs, if you don't mind me putting on my Russian hat here, because if you go to eBay now, if you go to Amazon and you look up to try to get one of these Kinect adapters, you're looking to pay $200 to $300. Yes.
Damn.
I've seen it as much as $299 for a Kinect adapter. I had me thinking maybe I should unplug mine and throw that joint online while they're getting is good. Right?
While they're getting is good. I mean, shit, what the hell are you gonna use it for?
I still talk to my Kinect.
I'm just messing with you. But yeah. I mean, it was super unfortunate the way that the Kinect kind of died off, because it didn't just it wasn't only the Kinect that died. It was like a whole studio put all of their effort into this device, like Rare Games.
Yep.
Like all they worked on since they
avatars,
were the only games that they worked on since they were acquired by Microsoft were the Kinect series.
Yep,
Kinect Sports.
Sports Rivals and that stuff. Yep.
And so just to see this thing die out like this is super unfortunate. Because there was a lot of technology, a lot of tech was in that little rectangle.
And it actually, for what it did, it worked well. So I had both the 360 version of Kinect 1 and the Kinect 2, and this version of Kinect was much better. And I've said this many times on the show. Me and my daughter play Last Dance, Just Dance.
There you go.
Yeah. So and we played it on the Xbox 360, and the improvements between the last version and this one are immense. The fact that it can track you a little bit, it does the zoom in and zoom out automatically. It can track up to your fingers specifically. The technology was vast. It's just, in my opinion, developers, again, they didn't know what to do with it. The same problem they have with VR. They couldn't figure out anything to do with it. There was the one game, and I can't think of the name. I've talked about this all the time. It's the platform where you use your body as the platform. You have to, put your arms out or whatever so that your character makes it across the screen. But other than that, there were really no compelling and interesting games. And once the dance games craze went out, I mean, that was the end of it for Kinect. The fitness games didn't really work as well. And to be quite honest, I think part of the problem is Microsoft doesn't have first party. If they wanted Kinect to really work, they needed strong first party support. And when they started closing all their first party studios, these third parties weren't making games for Kinect because it was a Microsoft exclusive. And there's no reason they're not going to force themselves to make a Microsoft exclusive. So,
but I didn't even get a chance to enjoy my Kinect as far as video games because of my setup. It requires more space in my room. It needs to be further away, and it wasn't possible. So I literally have a Kinect. It's sitting there. It's collecting so much dust, and there's really nothing that can be done about it. But this is the final nail in the coffin for the Kinect. For everybody over at Microsoft, what was it, Major Nelson?
Yeah,
who just swore by the Kinect, and then it died. So what the hell, man?
Well, he was like me. He was big. He supported the tech that's in the Kinect. It's just that the software didn't come. And I will say this: I think Sony had a hand in killing the Kinect by they revamped the PlayStation Eye. And but they saw what the Kinect was and like, well, shit, that's not going to work for us. That PlayStation 9 is kind of crap. So we're going to diminish the PlayStation 9. We're not going to talk about it, the PS camera, whatever they call it. And
I think that's right, the PSI.
Yeah, and because of that, again, there was only one system with the camera set up, and if you're making a game to work with the camera setup, you're going to limit your audience. And the fact that Xbox One was getting outsold two or 3 to 1 by the PlayStation 4, there was no reason for third parties to make Kinect games, or even add Kinect features to their games.
Yeah. I mean, but there was a few that I did I did see. And a lot of people seem to enjoy them, mostly for sports games like Call and Plays in Madden or stuff like that.
Getting technical files in NBA 2K.
Yeah.
and you can get. I don't know if FIFA still does it. I should check it, but you can get carded in FIFA as well. If you get called for a foul and you start screaming at the TV, if you have that feature on, you get card. You get a yellow card, or you might even get a red card and get thrown off the pitch. But
hey, man, that would be dope if that was implemented into games to kind of just qualm the gamer rage or whatever. You just get penalized for it every time. Every time you freaking throw your controller, you get penalized in game. There was one game, was it Alien Isolation, where if you were loud, the alien would hear you and you die. Yeah, I think that's awesome tech. It just forces you to keep a calm mind. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, rest in peace to the Kinect and its adapter, and rest in peace to any wallets out there who are seeking to get this thing now. Because $300 for an adapter, get the hell out of here.
That was $30 like 10 times.
Get the hell out of here. I can't. Before we move on to the next story, I do want to remind you guys that we have a Q&A section of the podcast where we will take questions from the live audience. So if you're live in the chat, make sure you use the hashtag AskAWGNS in chat, and we will answer your questions during the Q&A section. If you're watching us after the live show, you can also post this on Twitter. We track the hashtag. We will answer your questions. We'll make sure that we get to all the questions that we have. Just make sure that they're somewhat gaming related or tech related, and that we'll answer them. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next story, which is dealing with a seemingly dead company, and this is Madcatz. These guys are back in the news. What's going on?
Madcatz lives. So Madcatz, we talked about them. They actually filed for bankruptcy and would close their doors last spring 2017.
Yep.
And well, they are back. Back is Madcatz. So
back with a vengeance.
Yeah, basically what happened is a holding company that's comprised of some of the Chinese factory workers brought the company out of bankruptcy, and they're bringing it back. They've got some stuff to show at the CES coming up this week. They got their mouse line called Rat, which are
I don't like that.
Modular mice. They actually have one that's super cool. So it comes with a pad, and it's inductive charging. Mm-hmm. So the mouse is charged by the pad. So as long as the mouse is on the pad, it's charging. So
that's pretty cool.
It's a wireless mouse with no charging. Your mouse pad is charging. They have the Strike keyboards, Freak gaming headsets, and the Glide gaming surfaces, which are like the mouse pads and such. Okay. The stuff looks compelling. I'm really interested in that mouse. To be quite honest, the one with the inductive chargers. Yeah, I love wireless mice. That'd be awesome. I would take one of those. I'm not too. And they also have a pair of earbuds that has a boom mic on it, as opposed to that you use as a gaming setup. So the stuff that they have looks super interesting. It's the factory workers management. I'm not sure if there's any hand to plastic guys in there, but they understand what to make, how to make it, because they have been making it for years.
Right.
So it'd be interesting to see what they got coming. I'm going to keep my eye out CES to see how well it's received, or how well the designed it is, and the type of features and the price point. Of course, I'm not going to pay $400 for a mouse, but I'll pay $75 to $100 for inductive charged mouse. That would be cool.
Right.
But yeah, it's cool that they're coming back, because Madcatz has been around for years and years and years.
They've been around. For me at least, I remember them back as far as the N64 era of games. So that generation, that's when third party controllers became kind of like prevalent. You would see more and more of them following the N64 era. Didn't really see that many during like the Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis or anything like that. But once we jumped into like the 64-bit era, that was where you started seeing like more and more third-party controllers. And they were kind of on top of the world for a very long time. It wasn't until 2015 2016 that they started declining.
Yeah, it's because
in quality.
It's what happened to them is they went like all in on the Rock Band, the latest Rock Band 4. Yeah. They made all kinds of peripherals, drums and guitars.
That was last year, correct?
Or 16. That was 16.
So 2016, yeah.
Yeah, and that they lost their shirt on that, and that was pretty much their death knell. They had already been declining, like you said, from competition from the premium, like some of the premium brands, right?
Yeah.
And by them throwing all of their weight behind this Rock Band stuff, they just didn't survive when Rock Band tanked like it did.
Yeah, so it was super unfortunate to see how far they had fallen, because I, as a casual fighting game player, exclusively bought Madcatz Fight Pad controllers, and when Street Fighter V was on the verge of release, they released a Street Fighter V gamepad, and it had to be one of the worst controllers I've ever had the displeasure of holding in my hands. I actually put out a review of it on one of my YouTube channels. It was a terrible controller, and that is what forced, or not really forced, but that is where I jumped ship over to the Hori brand of controllers and started going from there. I also have a pair of Madcatz headphones as well. But I jumped ship, and now I rock with the HyperX Cloud 2s. So it'll be interesting to see how they plan on reestablishing their brand. Like you said, I definitely want to see some price points because, as far as Hori, they've consistently have been cheaper than Madcatz controllers. Madcatz controllers would run you anywhere from like 100 to 120, and I got both of my Hori fight pads for about $60, and it's pretty high quality. Some of the best controllers I've ever played with. So it'll be very interesting to see how they make a return. And this resurgence was done by former employees or
former factory employees.
Yeah, former factory employees. So
like I said, they know the product and they know how to make the product. So that's at least there's some know-how behind it. It's not some holding company out there that's throwing a bunch of cheap Chinese stuff. Blah
right.
Blah intended. No offense.
I get it.
No offense intended. But it's not like they just going to some Chinese factory throwing something super cheap and slapping Madcatz on it. They're actually putting their work into it. It's something obviously that they loved enough to buy and bring back from the dead. So
so good on them for that. I definitely want to see it because more competition breeds excellence. Like if you have somebody to compete with Hori, that's going to force Hori to make better controllers, and that's going to be good for the consumer. So
right,
absolutely. I can't wait to see how that goes down. But let's go ahead and move on to the next story. What we got?
The next story we got is about your favorite fat plumber and his fancy hat.
Oh yeah, Mario.
Yeah, so Super Mario Odyssey apparently has become a force du jour on speedruns.
Oh yes,
it is climbing the list precipitously, and it's one of the most popular speedrunning games out there. It's number 3 behind Super Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time right now. And within the past couple of weeks, it's been over 1,000 players that's registered a speedrun attempt in that game. So it's really climbing. One of the other things that was noted is that the any percentage category is now almost doubling Ocarina of Time. And any percentages, you complete the game without 100% completion. You just got to complete the game from beginning to end.
Right.
So it's super popular. My assumption is it's going to be in the when they do the speedrun event over the summer, right, in July.
They're actually the Awesome Games Done Quick is actually going on right now on Twitch.
Really?
Yeah, Awesome Games Done Quick 2018, and then they have summer Awesome Games Done
that's
Quick.
right.
So they have it in the winter and the summer, and the winter version is already in effect. I'm not sure what. Yeah,
but they had already announced the winter games, and Mario wasn't one of them.
Okay.
My assumption is that Mario is going to be in the summer game list.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's actually live right now on Twitch.tv /Games Done Quick. Right now they're playing Arkham Asylum. So the summer games is where we're going to see Mario. A lot of people are already expected to go there. Some of my favorite streamers on Twitch have kind of just turned into Mario Odyssey speedrunners, just getting better and collecting data and information to optimize the play on this game, and like this is already a game that is kind of like out of the norm for Mario. And so with the community just like, you know, embracing it so full-heartedly, is like we haven't seen anything like this since Super Mario 64. And the only reason that was so big at the time is because there was a lack of communication. You know, there wasn't this much technology, so any kind of discovery was like recorded on a VHS or some shit like that. It was really exciting. Right. And you know, and speedrunners are getting that same rise out of speedrunning a Mario game. Right. You know, here again, it's an awesome thing to witness. It's like just watching it, I feel like I'm witnessing history in the making.
Yeah, so, it's super interesting. I maybe should watch them and speed run through it because I'm not having fun playing it slowly.
I mean, it's not for everybody. I mean, this is a very unpopular opinion, but I do not think that it's game of the year. I feel like it's an awesome game, excellent game, but I really feel like everybody's kind of just like dick riding it a little too hard, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it's
Mario, it's Nintendo. It's one of the things that people grew up on, and it's apparently a great game. I keep saying I just can't, man. I've put like 3 or 4 hours into it. It's brutal.
It's not a bad game, and I'm really excited for the people that are speed running it because it looks amazing. Like when you see some of like the tricks that these people pull off, it's freaking amazing to watch.
Right.
Not necessarily that much fun for me though. Personally, I'm not a speed runner. Never been a speed runner.
Right.
So, yeah. I'm proud of the community for embracing the game the way that they have, and we'll see how far this ride goes because if Mario 64 or Mario Sunshine is any indication, this is going to be a hard fought battle for first place that's going to span some years.
Right.
Yeah. So super interesting. You know. It's a wonderful thing that's going on with the speedrunner community. Let's go ahead and move on to the next story. What we got?
The next story we have is coming out of the Philippines.
Yeah, Philippines.
So Valve is pulling support for. They're pulling support for the Dota tournament that's heading to the Philippines. It is the Philippines Dota tournament. It's the Galaxy Battles 2018.
Okay.
Dota's pulling support for it because they say they have concerns that the Philippine government would make unreasonable infringements on players entering the country. The interesting thing here is the Philippines amusement board, they call them the Games and Amusement Board, have recognized esports players as athletes. And as such, they are subjected to mandatory drug testing.
Okay.
And that seems to be the issue that Valve is having with the mandatory drug testing. And we all know that is rumored. I mean, it's not been proved, but it's rumored that ADHD type drugs and stimulants are rampant in the esports arena. People pop those Ritalins to get themselves focused. So I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but that's where they stand. They don't. It doesn't seem like they want the drug test, and it's obviously the Philippines. Like, look, you guys are athletes, and just like any other athlete, you have to be drug tested to make sure you're on the up and up.
Yeah, man. And especially with all the freaking money that's being passed around.
And if you can't pass the drug test, you can't compete. So, now this the Galaxy Battles, which was an official tournament, it was actually a major on the pro circuit, is now not going to be a major on the pro circuit, which means many of the pro teams probably won't attend. The Russian team, Virtus Pro, is already pulled out. I'm sure there's going to be others that pull out, and I think this is Valve maybe trying to strong arm the Philippines, but I don't have a. You know what? You can't. If the government says we don't want that in our country, they don't want it in their country, and I think the Philippines will survive without a Dota tournament. To be quite honest.
Yeah, I mean, dude, with all the money that's going into esports right now, I have no problem, or I don't see any reason why a country or place does not want to submit to drug tests for their athletes. I don't see why not. It doesn't make sense to me why they would pull out because of that. But hey,
right. I mean that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. But I don't have a problem with the Philippines doing what they're doing. Again, this has been known. Philippines, they did it last year. I think it was in the middle of last year, I think April, but I have to check it to be sure. But they say, hey, look, you guys are professional athletes. You're subjected to all of the same rules and regulations that other professional athletes have to follow if you want to compete in our country, and they have every right to do that.
Yep. So you can't follow the rules, get the heck out, man.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. You got anything else to add?
No.
Yeah, I'm not really big on Dota. I never have been, so not a lot that I can elaborate on as far as that, except for the fact that there's a lot of freaking money being passed around when it comes to that esports scene right now.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and move on. We have one more story in our top 5 for the week, and this one is coming out of Steam, another Valve story, and it is the Steam Awards for 2018. This is the second annual Steam Awards. And just like last year, the categories are confusing as all hell. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to know what the heck is going on when it comes to these categories, but we will do our very best to, I guess, talk about them. I don't know. Some of these don't even make any dang on sense. Boogie, I will let you start. There's actually not a lot of categories.
No,
so we'll go through all of them here really quickly. Let's go ahead and bring those up.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The first game or the first category is called Choices Matter. Games about agency. This award is for the game that has it in spades.
What does that even mean?
Basically, I'm assuming like open world or I don't know, choices that affect your gameplay, basically, because there's Life is Strange and The Walking Dead Telltales on there, so like choose your own adventure. So when you make it take action in the game, it definitely affects the outcome of that game. The nominees were Divinity, Original Sin 2, Life is Strange, Dishonored 2, The Walking Dead, Telltale: A New Frontier, and the winner, which was The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. That is the winner in that category. That game came out in 2016. Am I correct? Yeah, right.
Yeah, it did. So it's like how you winning awards in 2008. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it's the thing about the Steam Awards. They're player's choice.
True.
So they go up during the Steam Winter Christmas sale. They stay up for a day, and the community votes on them, and that's the way they go. So, yeah, The Witcher 3 is the Choices Matter award winner. I'll let you take this next one here.
Okay, so the next category is called Mom's Spaghetti, and the description says there are games that make you excited, there are games that make you happy, then there are games that are so intense that they elicit a physical reaction. You're talking weak knees, we're talking sweaty palms, we're talking fear-induced accidents, we're talking... Okay, so you get where I'm going with. It's basically the games that get a rise out of you, and the winner for this award was PUBG. The other games in that category included Resident Evil 7, Alien Isolation, Outlast 2, and Evil Within 2. A really cool thing about this is if you go to the website, when you hover over like all of the categories or all the nominees, it takes you like right to the store page in case you want to buy them. It's pretty cool.
Right, and this is odd because I understand why this would win this category because of the way PUBG is.
Yeah, just the way it blew up. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but not even that. But when you play it, the rush you get. I hear a car. Oh, I hear somebody upstairs. I hear gunfire. What was that type of rush you get? Because if you look at this category, the other 4 games were all horror games. Resident Evil, Outlast, Alien Isolation, Evil Within, those are all horror games. And then there's PUBG, which is not a horror game, but it still gets that type of horror, that rise out of you. Yeah. So
no, I agree with that. 100%.
Yep.
All right, you take the next one.
The next one is called Labor of Love. This game has been out a while. The team is well past the first unveiling of their baby, but being the good parents they are, these devs continue to nurture and support their creation. So basically, it's a game that's been out for a while, that's been supported, updated, and improved since the days come out. And the winner is Warframe. And I don't have any qualms with that, because I know people that actually I've played Destiny with, because this is a lot of times it's been compared to Destiny. Yeah. Same, it's basically a loot and shoot type game, and they swear by it. It's a great game, a good alternative.
I mean, especially since comparing it to where it came from. Right. Like it had a very, very rough beginning. I played it during that time. It wasn't necessarily my cup of tea. I feel like I could get back into it and actually enjoy it right now, though. The developers have been putting tons and tons of man and work hours into this game, and it has turned into something to be reckoned with. So you got to give props to them. I can't really say the same for any of the other nominees. One of them was Path of Exile. Never heard of that. Another one was Crusader Kings, Titan Quest. The only other one that I can probably say probably fits in there, it was Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, I've heard about Path of Exiles. It's the PoE. I hear people talk about it all the time. Oh, okay. Is action and it's the same type of thing. It's like what I actually was playing with a friend of mine not too long ago. What were we playing? I think I was playing Assassin's Creed. They were playing this game, Path of Exile, I think. And they were saying, well, when it first came out, it was horrible, but they've made so many improvements, so on and so forth. So it's along the same lines of as Warframe, where it came out, it was a dud, but they've diligently worked on it, and it is what it is today.
Yep, that's good. I'll take the next one. This category this award is called Suspension of Disbelief. The description says, let's be honest, games can have some pretty ridiculous elements in them, from stories that drive the actions to items required to conquer obstacles, to even protagonists themselves. This award is for the game that has a key component which, when described out of context, seems totally insane, but while you're playing the game, doesn't even make you bat an eye, because in the moment it makes total sense. Some of the nominees are Goat Simulator, Wolfenstein 2, South Park: The Fractured But Whole, and Saints Row 4. Is that Saints Row 4?
That is Saints Row 4, yeah.
Yeah. I'm bad with Roman numerals. But the winner was Rocket League, and I feel like that is a perfect example of a game that, when spoken about out of context, doesn't make any sense. It's like, it's
race
soccer.
Cars playing soccer.
Yeah, it's soccer, but with cars. Like,
what?
What? I can also see Goat Simulator as a prime contender. Wolfenstein, I mean, I haven't played that game, so you know what? I can't really speak on it. But Fractured But Whole, it's like, I guess like a South Park with superhero kids and lots of dick jokes. I mean, this is a game that these are games that are just like fun, and when you try to explain them, it's very hard. But once you play, it makes total sense. I totally agree. 100% with the award going to Rocket League, though. That's a prime example. The other one, the only one that even gets close, is probably Goat Simulator. I'll let you take the next one, and this is actually taking a long time, so let's kind of hurry this up.
Okay, so the next one is The World Is Grim Enough, Let's All Get Along. Basically, it's for games that don't involve combat, fighting, shooting, death, destruction, and despair. And the nominees included City Skylines, To the Moon, Abzu, Slime Rancher, but the winner is Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is basically like a life simulator. I got it for my daughter for her Switch for Christmas, and that is the game she plays the most. She got that. She got Splatoon, Mario, and Sonic, and she plays Stardew more than any of those. But yeah, it's just fun, not killing people.
Yeah. The next category is called No Apologies, and this award is for pretty much for games that they have some faults and it may not make sense why you actually play them, but it's kind of like a guilty pleasure, if you will. And the nominees are Rust, Mountain Blade, Warband, Honey Pop, Gothic 2 Gold Edition, but the winner was The Witcher Enhanced Edition. I haven't played any of these games, but I do know of Honey Pop. That is, I think that's the epitome of a guilty pleasure right there. Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and move on to the next category.
Okay, so the next category is defies description. It's basically a game that you can't put in any type of genre. It's just a game, and you don't know how to describe it. And the winner goes to Gary's Mod. Mm-hmm. The other nominees were the Stanley Parable, Doki Doki Literature Club. We talked about this last week, right?
Yep, we sure did.
Anti-Chamber and Pony Island.
Yeah. These are games that just you can't put them into words. It's something that you have to experience. And I agree with 3 out of the 5. I haven't played Anti-Chamber or Pony Island, but it definitely the Stanley Parable and Doki Doki fit in this category. The next one that we have is called Cry Havoc and Let Slip the Dogs of War. And these are basically your bang bang shoot 'em up action, extreme action games. Let's just call them that. The nominees were Shadow of War, Total Warhammer 2, Broforce, Red Faction Guerrilla, and the winner was Just Cause 3.
Red Faction Guerrilla, that game is old.
That game is so old. Wow. 2009. That's how old that game is.
Dang.
Just Cause 3 was a pretty dope game. I played it, but I kind of lost interest in it after a while. What's the next category we got?
This one is Haunts My Dreams. It's a misnomer. It doesn't just haunt your dream, it consumes your thoughts. Basically, it's a game that you spend a ton of time on, think about it all the time. When you're not playing it, you're thinking about it. When you're playing it, you're thinking about it. Mm-hmm. So some of the nominees were Dark Souls, Civ 6, Dota 2, Factorio, which whatever that is. I've never heard of that. But right. Counter-Strike Global, Counter-Strike Go, this 50-year-old game here is the winner. And these games, it makes sense, especially with Counter-Strike, Dota, and Civilization, Civ 6. You got to spend a lot of time to hone your skills and or build up your characters and cities. It just takes a ton of time, especially with something like Civ 6 where there's planning involved. So, yeah, I can understand that. I'm just sick of seeing and hearing about CSGO.
Yeah, CSGO is dirt old, 2012. Just get the hell out of here.
It's older than that. CSGO... I guess CSGO is 2012. Yeah, one of the variations.
Variants, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next up is Soul of Vitruvius?
Vitruvius.
I don't even know what that word means, so you're going to have to help me with this one. Yeah, go ahead.
You want me to do it this way?
Yeah, because I don't even... Do you know what that word means? I have no idea.
Vitruvius? I always hear it as when people are throwing spells. Is it Harry Potter? Vitruvius?
I have no idea.
Well, what's this? Let's ask Cortana. She'll tell me what it is.
All right, let's go.
Marcus Vitruvius Polio? Roman author, architect, civil engineer, blah, 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 blah.
No, I have no idea. And see, that's the
thing about... It's a person. Yeah.
But that's the thing about the Steam Awards is you won't always get what the hell they're talking about with these categories. Right. This is one of them.
Yeah. So this says the Vitruvian Man was Leonardo's celebration of the ideal form or the perfect form, right? Mm. And in the spirit, the SASC looks to celebrate the game with the Steam Awards looks to celebrate the game with the most lovingly rendered character. Okay. I see. Now I get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I get it now. What they're saying. Okay. So, nominees were Nier Automata, Hellblade, I Am Bread, and Bayonetta, and the winner goes to Rise of the Tomb Raider. And I absolutely see where they're going with. I don't understand how a piece of bread, because
I think that was a meme right there.
Quite literally, in I Am Bread, you do play as a piece of bread.
Yeah, you are a piece of bread.
A slice of plain white bread.
Yeah.
No cheese, no butter, no peanut butter, no Nutella, just bread. But I was watching you stream Nier Automata, and the game is beautiful.
That game is beautiful.
The sword is a little outrageously large.
Nah, man, it's just the right size for that petite young woman. Android.
And Bayonetta is I always thought Bayonetta was good, the stylized, the animation. I mean, the character designs. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I mean, Tomb Raider. I love Tomb Raider. Hellblade is the only game I'm really unfamiliar with. I've heard of it, but I haven't really had any first person experience with it.
Yeah. All right, we got 3 more. Let's go ahead and get through the list. The next one is called Whoa, Dude 2.0. The Academy wasn't clear enough in the award description last year. Let's try this again. This is the description for the award. The award is for fear and loathing in Las Vegas of video games. Do you get that reference? Fear and loathing in Las Vegas?
Yeah. It's like what the hell is going on? Surprise type thing.
Okay, yeah, so because that was a movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was. I thought it was a shitty, not a good movie, but people seem to love it for whatever reason.
So basically, the mind fuck of video games, I guess you can say.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so the nominees were Hotline Miami 2, Antichamber, Luna, CPU Invaders, and the winner was The Evil Within 2, a game that I own and I personally love. I'm a huge fan of the Evil Within series, and I really did like what they did with the sequel. All the other games on the list I haven't played except for I've seen Hotline Miami 2, but the rest of them I kind of have like no idea what they are all about.
Okay.
But the next one is what?
It's very simple. Best soundtrack.
Yes, very, very simple.
No explanation needed. Best soundtrack. And nominees were Nier Automata, Undertale, Transistor, Crypt of the Necrodancer, and the winner goes to Cuphead. And let me tell you, that Cuphead music is something fierce. Oh my goodness.
I mean, but you can say the same thing for just about all these games on here. Because Nier has an awesome soundtrack. Undertale, I listen to tracks from Undertale in my car. Like, them Jones go. And Crypt of the Necrodancer, that's a music based game. Mm-hmm. So and Transistor has an awesome score as well.
Transistor is the only one I have no experience with. I've heard from all of the other ones.
Yeah, Transistor is like that. All right, so we have the last one, and this was better than I expected. It's pretty self-explanatory. The nominees are Assassin's Creed Origins, Call of Duty World War II, Hollow Knight, Sonic Mania, but the winner was, again, Cuphead, taking 2 awards. The only game to take 2 awards in this entire awards list. But yeah, a lot of people didn't know what to think of when Cuphead was initially announced, and the fact that it took so long. We were wondering if we were ever even going to get it, but when we did, it had the perfect blend of tight gameplay elements along with some fierce difficulty, with an awesome soundtrack to boot, and co-op multiplayer. So it's like you really couldn't get a better experience than that, and it probably exceeded a lot of people's expectations.
Yep. Yeah.
But I thought the same thing about Assassin's Creed Origins too. That was like one of my favorite games of this year.
I'm currently playing through that. I'm pretty good into it now.
What do you think?
I'm liking it so far.
Good.
I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot.
Glad you're having a good time. I enjoyed that game. I played the hell out of that game. I like went straight through it. Like
did you?
Oh my god! How many hours? I think like 40 something hours, something like that, maybe.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I went ham on that jump.
I'm surprised. One thing I just wanted to mention: it's Call of Duty World War II up here. It surprises me. It surprises me that that's up here because it's up here because of the Call of Duty fatigue. People are like, yeah, it's going to be the same old crap Call of Duty, and it showed up, and people actually liked it, and they were surprised that they actually liked it. I find that kind of interesting.
Yeah,
because I truly think that Call of Duty fatigue is a real thing.
Oh yeah. I thought that we were well overdue for a break in Call of Duty, but it looks like they just got a game that wasn't the same thing. So I guess that works. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah, we shall see. Okay, so we posted in the or we mentioned in the beginning of the show that we have a Q&A section. This is normally the time for that, but since we're running so late, we're gonna actually have.
Do we have questions? How many questions do we have? I thought you said we only have one, right?
We have one question. We can answer this one?
Yeah.
Or okay, all right. So we have one question.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and answer it. All right, let's get into it. This question comes from the homie Maury Jin over on Twitch. And he asked, hey, do you think Fighter Z, I'm assuming he's talking about Dragon Ball Fighter Z, will win Best Fighting Game in the next year Game Awards show? Yes,
what's the other fighting game that's coming out?
In 2018,
there's Final Fantasy Dissidia, right?
There's Dissidia. There's Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I'm not sure if they're going to count Arcade Edition. I'm not sure if they're going to count that.
No, they shouldn't.
Yeah, they probably shouldn't. But there's actually another one by Arc System Works. It's that Blaze Blue Cross Battle.
Yeah.
There's that. And I don't know. I don't know if anything else is coming out. But that's all we have so far.
I can't imagine from what I've seen from that Dragon Ball Z game, and I'm not a Dragon Ball fan. Dragon Ball was a little bit too young for me. I was past it. I mean, my younger brother's huge. In Dragon Ball, my nephew, who's now he's 18 now, he's big in Dragon Ball. But I wasn't. It's just beyond me. But looking at that game, looking at the renders, and looking at how it played, it looks really good. Yeah. It looks really good. As somebody that's not played or is not in, doesn't know the lore too much, just the game itself, the action and the visuals are drawing me to it. I can't imagine anything else. There's not another fighting game that I saw coming out this year that's has that effect on me.
Yeah. I played. I had a couple of chances to play the game. I played it when I went to Evo, and I also played it during the closed beta. And man, the game, not only does it play fantastic, but it looks amazing. Like the visual quality is like, good God. You wouldn't know it, but those are actually 3D rendered models. They look anime because that's just like the coat of paint that they put over.
Right.
But it plays fantastically. They've announced a handful of other characters. I'm so ready for that game, dude. I have a lot of plans for it too. Once it comes out, I have plans for that game. Like I plan on putting a lot of time into it. It's going to be a very fun experience. I can't see any fighting game like directly competing with that and taking it out of the limelight. It's like even other people like you that aren't really Dragon Ball fans want to play this game.
Yeah.
And fighting game players that aren't Dragon Ball fans want to play this game. Like it's gonna have a huge scene, and if you want to get good, make sure you go to newchallenger.gg.
Newchallenger.gg, that's right.
Yeah, because they will be supporting it, full support for that game, and I plan on being a huge part of that community. So yeah, thank you for the question, Maury Jin. Appreciate you as always, homie. And to anybody else that's listening, make sure you put your questions in the chat or send them over to us on Twitter. The hashtag is AskAWGNS. And we'll answer them live. This is something new that we're kind of rolling out. So if we don't get any questions, or if we get too many questions, we might have to like split them into like chunks or whatever. Yeah. But we're still working on it. We're still rolling this feature out. So bear with us for a while. So let's go ahead and move on to the next segment, which is our long form discussion. And this is the part of the show where we take a individual topic and we kind of just like elaborate on it for a while. Boogie, why don't you go ahead and introduce this one?
Okay, so this one, it's a new year. welcome to 2018. If you just woke up or you're just coming off of those hangovers, those New Year's hangovers. But last week we did our year in review, right, for 2017. So this week I just want to ask, what do you want to see from the big three? When I say the big three, I'm talking about the big three console players. We're talking about Microsoft, we're talking about Nintendo, we're talking about Sony. What do you want to see from those three companies as far as in games, hardware, support? What are you looking for, basically?
Well, we talked about this in our year in review, but Microsoft definitely has to come with the games. They spent primarily all of 2017 either canceling games or just like delaying games and kind of just gearing up for this Xbox. I don't know what you want to call it, like not necessarily. Like gearing the Xbox to be supported without an actual set-top box. You know what I'm saying? Like they have the set-top box, and if you have that, that's great. But they've been working with like bringing that into the Windows 10 thing kind of seamlessly. You know,
Xbox has a service as opposed to
the Xbox
a device.
has a service. Yes, that's it. They've really been doing that. They've been doing that primarily all of 2017. So I really feel like it's high time. We got some games, and with the release of the Xbox One X, it wouldn't make sense for these people that invested this money into this console to not have anything to play on it. They need to give those people they need to justify that purchase, man. And at the end of the day, the Xbox One X is a gaming console. They want it to be an all-in-one, home entertainment system. But at the end of the day, you turn that thing on with the press of a controller button. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In most cases.
In most cases, yeah. So, yeah, I agree with you as far as Microsoft. We're doing the alphabetical order. Microsoft, then we do Nintendo, and we head up Sony.
Okay.
So, I agree with you with Microsoft. They need to bring the games. I think this year at E3, they have to bring something exciting. They can't rely on third parties because, to be quite honest, third parties have failed them. And we know, Phil Spencer has come out and said they're going to go headlong or head first go back into the first party development cycle. We're bringing out first party games and first party studios and invest in that way. So I'm expecting this year, specifically at E3, I'm expecting them to at least announce something big, preferably not another Halo, preferably not another Gears. A new IP would be great. I'm still expecting them to spend some money to add some talent, development talent to Microsoft Studios, because remember, over the past 2 or 3 years, they've been calling away, they've been closing studios and letting their developers go. They need to bring some of that talent back, and they're going to have. I mean, they have the money. The money is not the problem; is whether they have the motivation. Right. And I would like to see them. This has got to be. I mean, you sold a $500 box. You got, just like you said, you got to justify the sale of that $500 box.
Right. Because I mean, it didn't sell like poorly. Like people went out and they bought it. The pre-orders were there. People have what is considered now the strongest home console ever created. Right. And so they're going to need some games to take advantage of that power.
Right. And they do. To be fair, they have some games, some third-party games mostly. I mean, Assassin's Creed. Oh my God, Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed is great. They got the Forza 7, Forza Horizon, Madden. I mean, they got the third-party support is there for it. But again, they're losing out. They're missing out because third-party support, when they're making their games for two systems. So they have to balance making specific concessions to a system and the cost. Right. As opposed to if they're making it first party, they don't have to worry about what's going on PlayStation. They can use the Xbox to its fullest power and make something very, very good. So I think they definitely need to get into the first party. They need to jump back headfirst in the first party. Right. And if they don't, I don't see the Microsoft. I don't see Xbox surviving, at least as a console, surviving as it is right now. It's going to go the way of the Kinect.
Yeah, and speaking on what you said about third parties, failing the Xbox console brand, just take a look at Call of Duty. Remember how previous generation, all of the map packs and all that stuff came out on Xbox first. This is the first generation where that is a PlayStation thing now.
Yeah, that's because Microsoft. So again, that was part of Microsoft's strategy. They weren't spending the money. Sony was. That's why Sony's got the exclusives with Destiny, and they got Street Fighter V exclusively, and they got the map packs because Sony was just throwing the money at these publishers and developers, and bring me your stuff first, bring me your game, don't put it on Xbox, make it a PlayStation exclusive. And Microsoft is just like, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're just going to use the Microsoft name, and that is just not working.
Yeah, it hasn't worked out as they may have intended. So they're definitely gonna have to come with some games. I really do like I think it was one of your predictions for 2018 was that they were gonna acquire a game
Major studio publisher. Yeah.
I would like to see that as well. All right, so let's go on. Let's move on to Nintendo. I'll let you start with Nintendo.
What I would like to see from Nintendo is for them to be consumer friendly. That's what I want to see from them. I'm dead serious. I think Nintendo of the three companies, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, I think Nintendo is the most consumer unfriendly company of them all. Just their onerous policies from online gaming, game sharing, accounts, their horrible, non-existent online service. What they tried to do with their chat program, I mean, it's just not consumer friendly. The fact that they continue to sell 2, 3, 4-year-old games for $50 and $60, I mean, it's just everything that they do is consumer hostile. I want them to be more friendly to the gamer, because at the end of the day, Nintendo has fans that's going to buy their stuff. They
have hardcore fans, diehard fans
that's going to buy their stuff regardless. So if you just throw a bone, you don't have to give us the shirt off your back. Just throw us a bone. Sell me 3-year-old Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for $40 instead of $60. Don't sell me 2 Joy-Cons for $80. Give me more than 32 gigabytes of internal space for my games. I mean, I can go on and on. I just want to see Nintendo become more consumer friendly, because at the end of the day, as much as I whine and moan and complain and say Nintendo doesn't do this, blah, 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 they have the games. I think they have the games. They have Mario, they have Zelda, they have Smash Brothers, they have Metroid. They have the games, they have the catalog, they have third parties flocking to the system. So the system is going to have the games. Just be more friendly to your consumers, more friendly to your community. Yeah, that's all I'm asking for from Nintendo. I don't want to see them. I don't need to see a new Nintendo game. To be quite honest, I don't give a rat's behind about a new Metroid or new Smash Bros. Don't care. I just want you to be more friendly to me. Let me share my games with my 7-year-old. Don't make me have to buy 2 copies of Mario Kart so we can play against each other. On separate consoles. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I guess my what I want from Nintendo kind of aligns with yours. It's kind of, they just need to get with the times, man. Right. It's 2017. What generation is it? Well, the 9th generation of consoles?
10th, yeah.
9th or 10th. I should not be using my freaking smartphone to communicate with people over a multiplayer shooter. That is ridiculous.
I think that's a design flaw. I think they're going to have to update their entire operating system. I think right now it's 7th generation.
Okay,
no,
7th.
Is it 7th?
I thought it was at least 8th.
8th, yes, 8th.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's an OS limitation, that it can't do multiple programs at the same time. It can't multitask. Because what I noticed with Nintendo, when you go from one thing to another, you have to close
out. Yeah, you have to close out every single time. So I mean, everything that you said kind of aligns with that as well, because game sharing, that's something that's been been a thing for quite some time.
Since Xbox 360 at the very least, last generation.
Freaking party chat, that's been a thing for the past like 2 or 3 generations.
That started with PlayStation 2 and Xbox One. I remember
Xbox original, original Xbox. Yes, Xbox One. Yeah. I remember when Sony first brought in game chat on SOCOM. We had to buy the headset, plug the little headset adapter. But yeah, it's just. Yeah, they just need to get with the times. And I'm never gonna pay for their online service. So I'm glad that they pushed it back. They're gonna have to push it back some more because a lot of people I even though it's only how much is it?
$20 a year.
I don't care. It's not
compelling.
It's not justified. I will not pay. I will not assign my credit card or debit card or whatever to a service that is subpar. Like I pay for both freaking Xbox Live and PS Plus.
Yep.
Because like whenever I want to go online and play, like the functionality is there. It's seamless and it's easy. It's not seamless. It's not easy. It's bad. It's terrible.
And not to mention the fringe benefits you get from the service, the free games.
Yeah.
Right. You get at least 2 on the PlayStation 4, and lately they've been giving 3 to 5. And at least you always get 4 on the Xbox One. So Nintendo's.
But then I don't have Netflix on the Switch. I don't have Hulu. Didn't they just add Hulu? I think you said they have Hulu. Well, they don't have Netflix. They don't have YouTube. They don't have a browser. It's a wireless system, but I have to be connected to Wi-Fi. I can't be. I can't just be outside and connect to like the 4G.
No cell antenna.
Cell.
That's the whole. That all falls under the consumer hostility that they have.
Well, yeah. So basically, they need to get with the times. It is a game console first. They need to at least have core like game console functionality. Not being able to talk with your friends online. Like, get out of here, man.
I see where they're going with that. They're going with is they still want it for kids. They want to protect the kids. But one thing I would say for Nintendo, and the same with Microsoft, their parental controls are outstanding. If you are an involved parent, you can protect your child. I can stop her from talking to people on chat. Put the chat in there and leave it up to the parent to implement those blocks. You're not my parent, Nintendo. I'm not buying your system for you to restrict me.
Yeah.
You ain't my dad.
Oh God! All right. So the next thing we have is Sony, and I don't know what I can say I want from Sony that I haven't already gotten. I mean, Sony had a fantastic 2017. They had the exclusives. They brought the games that year. If there's anything that I want from them is to keep doing what they're doing. Because I honestly have no solid complaints about my PS4 experience in the past year. There's nothing that I can complain about. I am still waiting and anticipating games that we heard about this year, last year for this year.
For this year, yep.
I'm still on the hype train. Is still going strong, you know. So I honestly don't have any major gripes with Sony that I could come up with off the top of my head. Honestly, man, I've been having a fantastic time. Coming up real soon, Monster Hunter Worlds is coming out. I'm going to be playing that with my friends. Dragon Ball FighterZ, I got that pre-ordered for PlayStation 4. I'm going to be playing that online with my friends. Oh, you know what? Crossplay. There we go. They need to get with crossplay because it's what the people want. Especially when it comes to fighting games. Fighting games.
And shooters.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess. But like shooters get the big numbers. Like there's a lot more people playing shooters than there are playing fighters. So I feel like that that genre can be a little compartmentalized or whatever. I hope I use that word right. But the fighting the fighting genre, man, they
need a boost. Yeah.
They need a boost, and crossplay is the key. And Microsoft and Nintendo are playing ball together. Sony needs to get on board, otherwise they're going to be left in the dust. Okay. Yes, that is my that's what I want.
That's your rant. Okay. Yeah. Being the hateful hater, angry black man that I am, I got a lot to say about Sony.
Oh damn.
The first thing, Sony needs to give up on this VR because it's taken away from their core business. They sold, at the beginning they said, "Oh, we sold this many VRs, blah 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 blah." That was the curiosity. The curiosity is over. People aren't buying it.
That has peaked and it's passed. Mm-hmm.
People aren't buying it because there's not compelling games. The people that did buy it, you can go on Craigslist and eBay, and you see tons of them on sale for cheap. The people that are buying them are just not using them, don't want them, don't like them, whatever. They need to back up off this VR and move back to their core business, because if you look at the last year's PlayStation experience, remember last year's PlayStation experience and how excited we were with all of the stuff they showed?
So hype. It was so hype.
This year, they didn't have much for us. What they have for us coming this year is some of the same stuff they showed last year. Last of Us 2, Spider-Man, God of War, Monster Hunter. That stuff we knew about. They didn't show us really anything new. So I think Sony is kind of losing their focus a little bit. They need to get back in focus and get us those games that they have been getting us the past 3 years. Yeah. Yes, and then crossplay, they need to take their heads out their butts. Yep. Crossplay is the next big thing. They need to get ahead and they can be selective. They don't have to say every game is crossplay. But like you said, some of the fighting games, when they get Street Fighter, Dragon Ball, Injustice, those fighting games should be crossplay. I think if they want to implement anything, implement something that a game that's maybe not as popular on their system, but is popular somewhere else. Start with that type of thing. Say there's a game that's not popular on Sony, but it's popular on PC. Let your PlayStation players play with the PC players. If it's on Xbox, let them play, because it's going to make them happy and it's going to make them stay with Sony. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't matter if it's Destiny or Goat Simulator, if people have friends on a different platform that they can't play with, eventually they're going to move to the platform with their friends.
Right.
And, Sony could be losing out where Xbox, Nintendo, and PC are all playing with each other and Sony's sitting there by itself.
Right. I played a match of Rocket League last night on my PC with somebody that had it on the Nintendo Switch. It was fun. It was fun. All you had to do was just create a room. It's not like, and the weird thing is like you said, they can afford to be selective, but it could go even further than that, because when you play Rocket League, when you play matchmaking, I believe the matchmaking is only for the core system. So like if I went on matchmaking on PC, I think that I would be matched up with PC players.
You have to search out for cross-plat.
You'd have to search for cross-plat or create a private lobby that requires a password. And if that is the way that you can play cross-play. Right. So it's not even about like taking away consumers from the from the PlayStation platform. It's about bringing gamers together and not alienating them, because like you said, if somebody has a game on PC and I want to play with him, I'm going to get it on PC, even if it's available on PlayStation 4. Exactly.
Yeah. And then my last thing for Sony is stop reacting and pretending that you're being proactive. And by that, I mean, they will come out and they'll do something like, for instance, the PlayStation Pro. PlayStation Pro was reactive. It was something that they heard that Microsoft had something coming out that's a little more powerful. So they that their reaction was to rush ours out faster, even though it's less power and doesn't do quite as much as they claim it does, or doesn't do what they claim it does. So don't stop reacting and pretending like it's proactive. If you're going to react to something, react properly, because right now they're behind the 8 ball where with the Xbox One X, right? So yes, PlayStation has the games, Xbox has the hardware, and at some point it may not, but it could tilt
the scale.
Tilt the scales, yeah. So if you're gonna react to something, react to it. Don't be out there trying to rush something in the market that's subpar.
Yeah, react appropriately.
Yeah, those are the things I have. Other than that, like you said, Sony's year last year was amazing. I mean, the games they brought were great. I just, like I said, I'm just looking at what they showed us. I'm just going by the PlayStation experience because that's their event. That's where they're supposed to blow our pants off.
Right, and last year's and it wasn't even just the games that they came out, but the game announcements for the future. Right, that was killer as well.
And that's where they lacked this year. This year they showed us all of the game, more of the stuff they announced last year, but they didn't really make any big game announcements going forward. And I think that's problematic. And I think that's a symptom of them really going all in on this VR thing, which I don't think is a good look.
Yeah. Yeah, we will have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, that's the long form discussion. Let us know what you guys think down in the description below, or wherever it is that you are consuming this media, whether it's on YouTube, on Facebook, or if you're listening to it on your favorite podcasting app. Let us know what you guys think. And do you agree with us? Do you have things that you would like to see from the big three? Put those comments down below, and let's get this discussion started. With that said, we can go ahead and move on to our final segment of the show, and that's going to be our final thoughts. And this is kind of where we just retrace our steps, revisit some of the stories that we talked about today, and give our final 2 cents on it. Boogie, I'll let you go ahead and go first. What are your final thoughts on this week's news stories?
The Nintendo Switch is selling like blockbusters. I just want to see if they can keep up the momentum once the Nintendo fan base and then the gaming community actually catches on. When I say catches on, get their Nintendo Switches.
Yeah, once the novelty is gone.
I want to see how it goes. The ESA, that's just self-service. They're just trying to keep the money in their pockets. Paladins, shameless. Although they are doing something a little bit different by keeping it class-based, as any of the other battle royale games out there.
That's just like Fortnite keeping it different by allowing you to build stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a little bit of a wrinkle, but we all know. I mean, they didn't even bother to change the name, right?
Right.
Kinect. A quick moment of silence, and then I'm gonna move on to Madcatz. Madcatz is cool. I mean, if you go to their website, if you haven't, go to Madcatz website and check out the stuff they have, because the stuff they have looks, if it's not functional, at least it looks goddamn cool. It all looks cool. So I'm still interested in this the mouse, the rat. It's called the Rat Air. It comes with
that name, dude. I don't like that name.
Yeah, I don't care about today. It just looks cool, and I like that tech. I like the fact that it's inductive charging. I don't have my mouse is wireless and always charged. Okay. I don't have to worry about batteries or plugging it into my USB port. That's super cool. Super Mario Odyssey and the speed runs. It's about time something replaces 50-year-old Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
Valve pulling support for the Filipino Dota tournament. I mean, the government is the government. You got to follow their rules if you go into their country. Just like if you come to my house, take your shoes off at the door.
Yeah.
I'm joking, but it's that same thing, right? Yeah. And then the Steam Awards, I mean, their Users' Choice Awards, it does give you a window into what people actually on PC, or actually not necessarily on PC, but on Steam are playing. Mm-hmm. And it's the same as last year. They like their nostalgia. They like older games. It's very seldom that you see, well, it's only been 2 years, but both years you didn't see a bunch of the new hit blockbusters. You saw older games or a lot of indie games and stuff like that. So that's what PC is at. Looks like, and then that's it. Like I said, Microsoft We need you to bring us the games. Nintendo, stop hating your consumers, and Sony, drop the VR stuff and get back to business.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, I agree with you on most of these cases, but I'll take it a step further with the Nintendo Switch. The fact that they outsold the Wii U's entire lifespan in the first 11 months, it just goes to show you that, you know, Nintendo just did not have their heart in it with the Wii U, and that's why I felt burnt when I bought that console. Like it died just as soon as it got here.
Right. I thought it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
When they announced it, I was like, nobody wants that.
Yeah. But the Switch is selling like hotcakes. Like you said, they just want to see the momentum continue. ESA, that like these dudes, they're just trying to keep their pockets lined. So I'm not paying. I don't agree, or I'm not paying attention to anything that these guys have to say, because like we know where their intentions lie. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly.
Paladins, shameless. That's all I have to say about that. Microsoft pulling the plug on the Kinect. One last time, moment of silence. And then moving on. Madcatz, very interested to see some of their products. I'm actually going to visit the website here in a little bit and just like check out all of the things that they have. I want to see some price points. It might be time for me to up some of my gear, man. I'm working with a keyboard and mouse setup that I had for a while. It would be nice to upgrade. I may have to visit Madcatz and check it out. Like I said before about Mario Odyssey, I feel like I'm in a moment in time where I'm witnessing history in the making. You know, the speed running scene has never been as popular as it is right now. So I feel like just witnessing it, I'm participating. Dude, you go to a foreign country, you gotta follow the rules. So
yeah,
if you can't follow the rules, then leave. Right? that's about it. And not much to say about the Steam Awards. I do agree with most of the winners in each category, especially Best Music for Cuphead, because that soundtrack was god dang on fantastic.
Oh, the jazz music, man.
Oh, so good. Do you have that game, right?
I do.
Oh, okay. So I was
we should rock some co-op on there.
Oh man, I wish it was online, dude. I would.
Oh, it's not. It's local co-op only?
Yeah, it's local only, man.
Oh, that sucks.
Very, very sad.
No, that doesn't suck. That actually fits in with its with its design, right? It's all the nostalgia.
Yeah. So I'm waiting for Mount Lover to come over here so we can play together. Get over here, Mount Lover. And yeah, from what we want from the big three, Microsoft needs to come with the games. Nintendo, they need to get with the times, and Sony needs to get their head out of their ass. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Let us know what your final thoughts are down in the comment section or of wherever it is that you are consuming this media. And make sure that you hit us up on our social media. We are on Twitter at AWGamingNS. We are also on Facebook, a weekly gaming news show, or you can use the call letters AWGNS. And you have been watching a weekly gaming news show. This is live, recorded every Sunday, usually at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We go live on Twitch, we go live on Mixer, and we go live on YouTube as well. Make sure you check us out. Speaking of YouTube, Boogie does the Weekly Gaming News 10 and 10, which is a short 10-minute or less snippet into topics that we will be discussing on the Sunday podcast. Those usually go live on Saturday at noon. So make sure that you check that out if you don't have time to watch the entire podcast. And if you want to see more of me, I have my own YouTube channel, the YTOS, where I archive streaming highlights and also do original content as well. But if you're taking us on the go, we definitely want to thank you for the guys that listen to their podcast old school style. Boogie, why don't you let them know, in case they don't already know, where they can listen to us.
Okay, so we are in Apple's iTunes store. We're on Google's Play. We're in TuneIn Radio, and essentially we're in the general podcasting directory. So whatever podcatcher you use, just search us by A Weekly Gaming News Show or our call letters AWGNS, and you will find us.
Yes, you will find us in the general podcast directory. I think that's it. We've talked long enough. It's getting late. People got work tomorrow, so we're going to go ahead and end this. This has been a weekly gaming news show, episode 82. Want to thank you all for tuning in. My name is Trenell.
I'm Todd.
And we will catch you guys
next week.
Peace.